Hello again. Welcome to the 9th episode of the Play Stamp Here Show. This is part 6 of our album fill series where we go through all the self-adhesives put out by the United States Postal Service from 1974 through 2023 and beyond. This is the episode dealing with all the stamps that have a date of 1999 on them somewhere. In the last episode, we included a semi-postal stamp for breast cancer awareness, because all of those are self-adhesives and they're first class postage. And today we are going to be starting with the Airmail stamps. They didn't make Airmail stamps for a few years. They kind of discontinued the program, and then for some reason they brought it back to introduce like a new international rate for letters to Canada and Mexico. But they call them Airmail stamps and they have a little plane symbol on them. But those came back in 1999, and I think they made like 18 of them over the next few years. And those are all self-adhesive. So we're going to be including those with our self-adhesive album fill series. In our last episode, we ended up with 138 out of 158 stamps up to the end of 1998, about 87% complete for stamps we're looking for. Today there are going to be 77 stamps that we're looking for. We're just going to bring the total to 237. So hopefully we will find all of those as we go through them. I appreciate you watching. We had a little bit of delay in between episodes. If you want to know what I've been doing the last 3 months, you could check the video description down below. I might give a little bit of a synopsis of my life through the holidays of 2022. Don't forget you can write to me. This is a show about postage stamps and letters in the Postal Service. My address is also going to be down below in the video description. I hope you enjoy the show. It's going to be a little bit less than an hour today, so even though we got more stamps. All right, thank you. We're going to sort the 1999 stamps now. There's about 77 self-adhesive stamps that have the date 1999 on them. And the 77 stamps are on about 49 different designs. I'm just going to start over here with the flag over city stamp. I think there's 8 versions of that. Then there's 4 berry designs, and then there's 3 different versions of each of those 4 stamps for 1999. I think there's another one in 2000. Then you have a Christmas stamp over here. Here's the Malcolm X stamp. There's 3 different versions of 4 reindeer for the contemporary Christmas stamps. There's a John and William Bartram stamp right here. There's 2 kind of specially die cut love stamps. There's a second Looney Tunes stamp, or a third, I mean, with Daffy Duck on it. There's a new rose stamp. Here's one of those designs from the landscape stamp. There'll be 4 of these floral stamps, which kind of make a design when you put them all together. This is the 1999 Kestrel. Here's some Aquarium stamps. I think there's 5 of those. Here's one of my favorite stamps, the little New Year baby for 2000. Here's a Happy Hanukkah stamp. Here's the 33-cent Cinco de Mayo stamp. Prostate cancer awareness. One of the extreme sports stamps. Here's the 33-cent Kwanzaa stamp. Here's a hospice care stamp. Here's one with Billy Mitchell on it. Forgot I was going to include some Airmail stamps here. There's 2 1999 Airmail stamps. Here's the flag over chalkboard stamp. I was a little worried we weren't going to have one of those. Alright, and last but not least is the Justin Mural stamp. We're missing 4 of these Sonoran desert stamps. But other than that, we have all the other designs. So I think we have 47 out of the 51 designs, because now we're counting the 2 Airmail stamps. And we're just going to get into which stamps have varieties, that sort of thing. Alright. Right now, I'm just taking stamps we only have 1 of off paper. That will probably end up in the album. And then this is going to be the soaking pile. I didn't notice these had perfins. You could see there's like a star pattern right there. There are two different versions of these aquarium stamps. I think the most obvious way to tell them apart is one has block tagging on it and the other one has overall tagging on it. So we're going to look at these through UV light. All right. See how, do you see how the perforations or the die cuts on here aren't glowing at all? Except on this stamp right here. That's because all these stamps are block tagging except for this guy right here. Because he has the tagging all over the place. This one is a 3319A because it has that overall tagging on there. Whereas the rest of these are just the regular Scott numbers. So I am going to soak this off paper. I just want to make sure I remember. All right, so we got the berry stamps, the flag over city stamps, and the reindeer stamps. There's only one coil stamp and two booklet stamps. This is 1125, so that is 3297 or 96. And this one has some weird die cuts on the side. I'm going to show you what I mean. See this really long one on the left there? And it's on the bottom too. Okay, here's a raspberry of the second booklet variety. This is one of the first variety. Here's one with all four sides. We can put that there. Here's a coil off paper. Here's that other type of booklet. Here's a coil. Put this here for now. All right, so we're gonna put these. Here goes blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, and blackberry. We might be missing one. I don't remember if we had it in the soak pal or not. Okay, so that was the berries. Let's do the reindeer next. Now there's one that's obviously shorter than the other two, and then one has a narrow gold frame, and the other one has a wide gold frame. So I'm pretty sure right off the bat, we got a narrow and a wide. Let me show you. Yeah, see the difference there on the side of the gold band around the design? How the one on the right is like twice as thick as the other one. So that's the wide and the narrow. And then the other difference, the third set, they're just smaller, like postcard size almost. So you can just eyeball how much bigger the one on the top is from the one on the bottom. So it looks like that narrow one we found right away is the only one that we got. So we gotta remember, grab that when we soak it. And the same with the small guy. They only have one of each of those. Okay, we're gonna do the red next. One's going in the collection. Here's a thin gold band. And then here's a small one. Okay, now we're doing purple. This one has a funky die cut like that raspberry one did. On the left there, just a wider, longer die cut. So I'm just gonna hold on to that one separately. Here's a nice wide gold. Small one. Here's a thin. All right, now we got the blues. Here's a small one. I guess this goes here. But here is a thin one off paper. Okay, so we're gonna put these into the stock book for putting them into our album. Everything so far, except for the flag stamps. That's looking pretty good for our album. Plus the ones we're gonna soak. All right, so we're gonna kind of separate these by black date booklet, red date coil. Okay, here's a red date booklet. I think it's definitely a small date. You can see some different perfs on here too. All right, so of the 8 flag over city stamps, 3 are going to be these black date booklets. 4 are going to be these red coils. 1 is going to be these red booklets. So this red booklet, they should be all the same. And this one is going to go in the album. And then these guys, one's going to be die cut 11. One's going to be 11.5 by 11 3/4. The other one's going to be 11 1/4. So this one's perf 11 or die cut 11. So this is 3278. This one seems to be a 3278F. We're going to see if it's 11 3/4 on the side. Yep, 3278F. That's 3278, 3278F. And that is a 3279. This one is definitely 11 1/4. So this is a 3278I. Now the rest of them are going to be red date coils. There's some with round corners, which are going to be 3282, and the rest are going to be square corners. That's a square. Here's the rounded corner one. So this is a rounded corner, and then here's a square corner. You can see the difference. This top one is square and the bottom one is round. And then look here on these two guys. It's not real obvious, but the one on the bottom has a bigger date on it than the one on the top. So the big date one is 3281, and the small date's either 3281C or 3281D. Okay, do you see these two things running down the side of this Empire State Building looking thing? How these are kind of a solid color. Whereas right here, they seem to be like 3 lines coming down. So there are lines on this one and solid on the other one. I believe the lines are supposed to be type 1 and the solid is type 2. Bottom one has a large date. So all the large dates are type 1. So this is definitely a C, a type 1 small date. Since type 2 can only be a small date, I went through all those stamps. I didn't see a type 1 small date, which is a 3281. So we're just going to be thankful we have 7 of the 8, I guess. All right, so all that's left is to clean up and then soak these stamps. All right, we're going to soak some stamps off paper, just using some water from my reverse osmosis water softener. These are all the stamps we're going to be soaking today. I tried to get one of each design if possible. There's a couple in here that we didn't have any other copies of, like this flag over chalkboard. Those ones we're going to be particular about getting off of paper. Let's do this. Not that much. There's about 40 stamps, so we're going to do 2 loads of 20 each. Now for the 98 stamps, about 15 minutes soaking seemed to be the magic number. So I'm going to come back in 15 minutes and check on these. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. That came off nice. Let's try to slide this one off. Bam. Man, I gotta miss being able to soak these in water. Kind of getting the feeling these wider gold band reindeer stamps are the ones that aren't coming up right away. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but definitely not sliding off like the rest of them. Yeah, this is a thin band green, and that came off really easy. But so far, all these wider gold ones weren't sliding off as well. But these small ones were. I just gotta leave that in there a little longer. Give those a couple more minutes. That's a little better. All right, now we're going to take the other stamps that were in here. There's more of a variety here. That was most of the berries and the reindeer and the flag stamps, but this is more of the commemorative issues. And there are a couple of water activated gum stamps in here, which should just fly right off. This weather vane H makeup stamp started coming off. That's how much easier stamp collecting was back in the day. All right, I'm going to leave the rest of these for another 10 minutes or so. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. Whoa, 15 total. And this one's sliding off. This might be an ATM stamp. It's trying to take up the paper with it. Took up the ink of that tour. All right, this one's important too. I was actually kind of shocked, to be honest, we had any of the overall tagging stamps. This one is not ready yet, but I'm trying to get the edges up so more water gets in there. Um, nope, that slid right off. Nice. Mm. slides right off. Okay, we'll try this one again. I think I got it, but I'm going to let this float for a couple more minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to start putting these in the drawing book. All right, let's give this one another whack. Phew. We're going to tuck these away, put them under some weight. All right, now we're going to go after some tours. Those are the top upper right or the top right envelope statements, like place stamp here, post office will not deliver without postage, extra postage required, that sort of thing. And we're going to do this a little different. Been kind of evolving as we go along here. Since these soaked so well in water, I don't really want to waste my time with all the caustic chemicals and just the mess. So we're just going to mostly soak these off of water. Hopefully these just slide right off. There's a nice big green stamp here. Green one. See this Daffy Duck stamp? This thing is off the paper already. Look at that. Crazy. That's a cool tall one. Kind of an interesting font choice. All right, last one in this batch. Place first class postage here. Postage. I like this one. Place first class postage here. It's about as good as that's gonna get. Okay, I think that's it. We'll be back in a day or two and put these into our album. Okay, it's time to check on the stamps that we're drawing. And then these are the stamps we're keeping so far. And there's two sides of this. This is mostly just the berries, the reindeer, and the flag of a city stamps. We did have a green thin gold band. These are all the thin bands in the second row here. The flag over chalkboard stamp. And we did have one of the overall tagging aquarium stamps. So that's going to go in here as well. Okay, we're back to our book. First stamp of the day is going to be this Justin Morrill stamp. And this is the last self-adhesive stamp for this page. Right in here. Here we go. Now there are several different versions of this Kestrel stamp, but only one with a 1999 self-adhesive format. This has a nice partial disc cancel there, or postmark. Next page has the Coral Rose stamp. I did buy this recently. This is a frame set of the first 21 Black Heritage stamps. And this Malcolm X one's going to be the first one not to be included in this frame. So I'm going to have to build a second one with a similar theme. So these two love stamps are unique in a way because you can see this is about the only time the US, well, not the only time, but just about the only time that the US experimented with different shapes of die cuts versus just something, you know, like this. Just has those serpentine cuts to make it look like it has perforations. Or a straight edge, like the first, 24 or so, where it was just a block. But I think I was making a joke in, I think, the 1995 episode about how they could make, maybe it's 96, I don't know, how they can make these into any shape they want. But they try to make them look like stamps. So these are one of the only two attempts where they tried something different. So kudos to the USPS for trying something new. So that page is done. So here are the flag over city stamps. And then here's the flag over chalkboard. So let's do this one first. And we only had one of these. And I was a little worried that we were going to damage it. I think this is another ATM stamp, and those are notoriously thin. That is 3283. And not super excited about the quality of that stamp. It kind of looks a little faded or something. Okay, the red date booklet is going to be 3279. Right here. The large date square corner coil, which is 3281. So I go right here. And this is the small date round corner coil. It's going to be 3282. And we do have two new varieties. One's the 3281C, that's the type 2 small date coil, and the 3281D, which is the type 1 small date coil. And this one's a small date type 2 coil, so this is going to be the 3281C. We're still looking for that D. This is a 3278F booklet. And this is die cut 11, so this is 3278. And this is a 3278I. So I have to put that like right here. Okay, so maybe we'll come back for this one someday. Here's what the Sonoran Desert stamps look like in their sheet. It's just a really cool landscape photo. You got tarantulas and rattlesnakes and Gila monsters and all kinds of different kinds of birds. It's pretty cool. And for now, what I've been doing with the singles of these, I just stick them on the picture of the sheet. I think there's at least 10 of these landscape pictures. There's one every year, except for I think they skipped it one year, with a different North American biome, like desert or rainforest or swamp or whatever. Eventually, I might make my own page that has spots for all these in like a nice grid pattern. I need to move this one over a little bit. It's about right there. I'm just going to put this one down here. The picture isn't the same size as the actual stamps. The snake stamp somewhere over here. All right. And then here's all the berry stamps. There's 3 different sets. Well, there's at least 4. There's a set from 2000 as well. And one's a coil. And the other one is die cut 11 1/4 by 11 1/2. And the other one's die cut 9 1/2 by 10. And the general rule of thumb is the smaller the number of the die cut, the larger like the teeth are going to be. So lots of little teeth means like a higher die cut, and fewer larger teeth mean a smaller die cut. And we are missing the strawberry stamp here. I don't know why these aren't all in the, why doesn't it just go blueberry, raspberry, blackberry, strawberry, or some order for all 4 of these. But like a raspberry second here, but here's a strawberry second, strawberry's third here, fourth here. Doesn't make sense. Anyway. The ones on top are Scott number 3294 through 3297. The ones in the middle here are Scott number 3298 through 3301. Only about 2,500 to go. They should probably space these out a little bit better, but maybe people put strips here. I'm sure there's a strip of 5 with a plate number. And these coils are Scott number 3302 through 3305. We're missing the imperforate Daffy Duck stamp. Probably only costs like $6 or $8. But there's 8 self-adhesives on this page. Got the John and William Bartram. They're botanists. Got the prostate awareness, cancer awareness stamp. Thankfully, this doesn't have a hidden image on it. This is the Daffy Duck stamp, the Cinco de Mayo stamp. Oh, and then the 4 flowers. When these were joined together, you're going to see this on the pollinators stamps as well. The 4 stamps together make like a bouquet design. Kind of a cool, well, I think it's a cool design that goes in the middle like that. Close enough. Okay. Daffy Duck is the 3rd Looney Tunes stamp out of 5. The Cinco de Mayo stamp is the same as the 98, just has a different price of 33 cents versus 32. And I think this is the last time we got a Cinco de Mayo stamp. And these flower stamps are Scott 3310 through 3313. All right, so this page is done. I'm going to make space for those aquarium stamps with the overall tagging on here. It's been kind of my kick lately is finding varieties that aren't in my album and adding them to my album. We did only find one of these, but I'm kind of surprised we actually found one. Right now, used copies of these are going for about $7 each on Hipstamp. Now, if these stamps came out in like 2004, I would say that they ripped off Finding Nemo. Because you got an aquarium setting, you got some clownfish, and then you have the filter. Then you have like a dory looking fish. You have like an angelfish. I'm trying to remember the characters. It's been a while since I watched the movie. And then this one has that little shrimp guy that was always cleaning the aquarium on it. This is 5 years before the movie came out, so just shows how well they showcased common aquarium fish, I guess. So we have the extreme sports stamps here. There's like the rollerblades, snowboarder, like a BMX bike guy. This one's in kind of bad shape. And then a skateboarder stamp. This one has some like adhesive on the front. It's not good. So we're going to be looking for another skateboard stamp. But we're going to leave that in there for now. But these extreme sport stamps, this is the only set with the scrambled indica on here. And this is like when your dad gets a book about how to talk to kids and be hip, because you have the word fat, PHAT, on here with the rollerblades. And then you have the word sweet with the snowboarder. Dude, you have a tattoo. What does it say? Sweet. What does mine say? Dude. What does mine say? Sweet. All my guilty pleasure movies. This one was kind of hard for me to see, but it says rad right here. And then this one says gnarly. Okay, so that page is done. Well, it's not done, but we're done with it for today. All right, so there's two more on this page. The Billy Mitchell stamp and the honoring those who served. Now, every once in a while, the post office puts out a series of stamps with different subjects on them. It kind of goes over the years, like performing arts, Distinguished Americans. This one's part of the Pioneers of Aviation series. There's a number of stamps with like different famous pilots on them. This is one of them. So that's it for this page. We have about 16 stamps left, and most of those are holiday stamps, or all of them are holiday stamps. All right, like I said, there's a bunch of Christmas stamps, a Hanukkah stamp, a Kwanzaa stamp, and a special New Year's stamp for the year 2000. This Hanukkah stamp is a reprint of the 1996 one. You'll see this, we just saw it with the Cinco de Mayo stamp, where they had a 32 and 33 cent version. But the Kwanzaa, the Hanukkah, and the Happy Birthday stamps, a lot of times they'll just reissue the same stamp when a new denomination comes out. So like the 1996 stamp, I believe that was 32 cent, and this is a 33 cent Hanukkah stamp, but it's the same design. But it seems like that happened more in the 90s than it does in the early 2000s than it would today. Today they would just make a new design, I think. There's the Madonna and Child stamp. And I think all our remaining stamps are going to be on this page, except for the 2 Airmail stamps. So here's that Kwanzaa stamp I was talking about. This is the same design as the 97 Kwanzaa stamp, just that was 32 cents, this is 33. And then usually, because of multiculturalism and inclusiveness, they use a Chinese New Year's stamp instead of like the Gregorian calendar New Year's stamp in January. But for the year 2000, they did put out a special celebratory stamp with the baby New Year coming in, ringing in the New Year. If you're familiar with the old kind of cartoony representations, like the old man leaving with, you know, a sash that says 1999 and then the baby coming in with a sash that says 2000, that's basically what this is based off of. And we do have all these stamps here, but these top 4 are Scott 3356 through 59. This is the narrow gold frame. And then these 4 right here are going to be the wide gold frame. Okay, so this one has colors on it. So green goes down here, red goes there. And then here's the smaller stamps. These are Scott 3364 through 67, and these ones are Scott 3360 through 63. And these 2 sets, they go red, blue, purple, green. So we're going to do the same thing here. Just going to put red, blue, purple, green there. So let's get 12 hinges and put those in, and then we'll be done with this album for today. Okay, and that does it for now. We're going to get the other album out for the Airmail Stamps. So if you watched the last episode, this is my 1936 to 1974 album. It's fairly complete. There's some varieties I don't have in here, but for the most part I got everything in here. I have the back of the book stuff in here. And if you're not familiar with back of the book, that includes like parcel post, post is due, parcel post, post is due, special delivery, postal stationery, airmail stamps, postal saving stamps, semi-postals, a bunch of stuff. But for the series, we're only worried about like the 7 or so semi-postal stamps, including that breast cancer stamp from the last episode. And the last 18 or so airmail stamps, because they're self-adhesive and they have that date on the bottom, and they're usually thrown in with all the regular stamps. There's nothing unusual about finding a semi-postal or an airmail stamp in a pile of stamps. They restarted putting airmail stamps out after a hiatus of about 6 years or so. I think they continued through 2012. Basically, these were just international postage rates for like Mexico and Canada. In 1999, it cost 40 cents to mail a letter to Mexico, and that one has the Rio Grande River on it, which, if you don't know, is it's along like the Texas border for the most part that separates U.S. and Mexico. And then Niagara Falls is on the 48-cent stamp, which was the postage rate to mail a letter to Canada. And if you don't know, Niagara Falls is on the Canadian and US border. So there's like a part of Niagara Falls is in Canada and part of it is in the US. So both of these are bodies of water that are used as borders for the US and either Canada or Mexico. So it's kind of fitting that these are on the first two stamps for these special rates. This is C133 and C134 if you're keeping score at home. And this series is called the Scenic American Landscapes series. And you can tell these stamps apart from like the regular airmail stamps, you know, from 1918 through 1991, 1993, whenever these came out. They would say airmail or USA airmail somewhere on there. But these ones have a little like shiny silver plane on them in the corner up there next to the denomination. So if you are sorting through some stamps and you get a kind of a weird denomination like a 75-cent stamp or something, and you want to know what it is, just look for that little silver plane. All right, so those are our first two airmail stamps that we're going to be doing in this album fill series. But that's it for today. Okay, so those were the self-adhesive stamps from 1999. There are 79 of them. If you're keeping score at home, we found 69 out of the 79 stamps. We were missing 4 of the Sonoma Desert landscape stamps, 3 of the overall tagging stamps for the Aquarium series, 1 of the berry stamps, 1 of the flag over city stamps, and the imperforate Daffy Duck stamp, which brings our total to 207 out of 237, which still leaves us at 87%, where we were at the beginning of the episode. So we're still doing pretty good. All right, and that does it for this episode. Thank you for watching. We covered the stamps 1999. We'll be getting to the 2000 stamps pretty soon, but there's a couple episodes I want to do before then. They're on the docket. But in the meantime, I hope you guys all had a happy holidays, and I hope to see you soon. Feel free to comment below, reach out to me on Twitter at PlayStampHere, or mail me. My address is down in the video description. All right, thanks for watching. All right, bye-bye.